That was the thing for the network. I think we are good to go. So let's just wait for others to join. Sometimes this things like this happens with the service provider. Wait for others to join. Let's wait for others to join before we proceed. Okay. Now let's just observe. Let's wait for others to join before we proceed. Okay. Are we all on the same page? Okay, so let's just wait for others. That was a thing from the network. Happens sometimes. Okay. Please, as you join, let me know so we can start. Okay, I think we are good to go. Awesome. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for joining us back. That was the thing from the network. Yeah, I think we are good to go. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. That was the thing from the network. It happens sometimes. So now saying it is responsibility towards promote good interpersonal communication. Very simple. What are we talking about? Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you. Welcome back. But we are here to smash the like button. What's going on? Please let's smash the like button. Okay? Please let's work to smash the like button as we continue. Now, it is responsibility to promote interpersonal communication in the sense that the the departments in the school, we've agreed that there are different departments, and these departments are occupied by human beings. So it is the responsibility of the principal to make sure that these different departments they are in good terms. It makes the whole thing work together. Even the Bible says that two cannot work together except they agree. In this case, everybody must learn to work together. All right. Your arm can't say I'm not working with the leg. Your body will not function well. All right. Your right eye can't say I don't want to work with the left eye. There will be a problem. So it's the same thing. It is his responsibility to promote the interpersonal communication, all right, among different departments. All right. Interpersonal communication between teachers to teachers. There must good rapport between teachers and administrators. Okay. Between teachers and the curriculum specialists. Everybody must be in good, even though you don't even like yourself. But whenever you are at work, at least pretend to do. Then outside work, you can. But that's what I'm saying. All right. But it's the responsibility of the principal to ensure that everybody works together as a team. So we have that as that. So let's take a step further. Now look at it here. It says another major task of the principal is to provide leadership in identifying and utilizing of appropriate words personnel to provide adequate system adequate system of what? Psychological and technical supports for teachers and to participate in the process. Look at this. One of his major responsibilities, major, is to what? Provide leadership in the what? Identifying and utilizing appropriate personnel. All right. Identify, all right, and utilize. What are we talking about here? Identifying in the sense that you don't just identify, it's not written on the forehead. It takes a lot of test, observation, examination, evaluation before you select. All right, or before you identify. You get to identify before you select. In the sense that there are always loopholes, there are always vacant positions to fill. So it is the sole responsibility of the supervisor, in as much as we have the HR, human resource department, or human resource management. We know that. But as number one citizen of the school, all right, as number one personnel of the school, even though the HR department, human resource management, does their thing, it is his responsibility to still look over, to see over, all right, if they have identified, and by identifying, placed, selected and placed the right person in the right place. Then you can talk about utilizing. For somebody who has math phobia, it will be disastrous if such a person is teaching students who hates mathematics. All right. Even as for somebody who is a math enthusiast, he will need to do a lot of effort to teach students who hate mathematics. There should have been a round peg in a round hole if it was a math enthusiast with students who love mathematics. So it would have been a bad idea. It's a bad idea for somebody who has phobia for mathematics and is now teaching students who hates mathematics. So you have to he has to identify, then also utilize appropriately. Okay? And with that, it is a leadership responsibility. All right? A leadership, all right? It's a leadership responsibility. So let's take a step further. So now, so what is the structure? What is the structure of instructional supervision? What does it look like? What does the structure of instructional supervision looks like, or what it should be? Are we on the same page? Now, the effectiveness of any system of instructional supervision is at least partly a function of the organization structure. All right. So the structure of instructional supervision is dependent or determined by the organization structure. What are we talking about here? About the structure. What does the system of instructional supervision looks like in any school is majorly dependent on the structure of the school itself. School has its own. School has its own identity. All right. The structure determines the identity, the priorities, and the workforce capacity. So all these are determinants of the structure of the school supervision. Okay. So now let's take a step further. Now we have implementation of supervisory program. Now, the supervisory principal should be familiar with four basic general principles of organization. Now, these principles are learning situation for students can be improved by proper administrative organization. Implementing supervisory program. Don't forget, we already agreed that when you talk about supervisory program, you are looking at how you can improve the system as a whole, the teachers and the students. So, as a principal, there are four basic general principles you must have at the back of your mind. The very first principle, is, I think we should put that down. I'm just going to use my duster very quickly. Four basic general principles when it comes to implementation of supervisory program. The very first principle is that the learning situation of the students must be improved, okay, by proper administrative organization. All right, by proper administrative organization of personnel engaged in. Now, what we need to get here is that there's an improved admin organization. Improved admin organization, meaning that the set of supervisors involved in this organization should be, all right, should have it at the back of their mind that the system, the organization, all right, the coming together of these supervisors is to what? Improve, okay, the personnel, is to improve the learning situation for students. Now, organization for supervision should be based on a generally accepted philosophy of education. All right. So this organization for supervision should be based. Now, the focus here are the group of supervisors, not the students. Look at it here. It says that the organizations for supervision should be based, that this group of supervisors you have put together, this organization of this group of supervisors should be based on what we refer to as generally accepted philosophy of education. Generally accepted philosophy of education. Then we also have the governing board as a policy making body, all right, has full authority over the supervisory program and should delegate responsibilities and authority for administration of the program. All right, so we have the governing board. All right, so there's need for a governing board. There's need for an effective governing board. And lastly, school organization for supervision should be appraised. All right, so we have appraisal. Very important as well. Very, very important, appraisal. So we have that as that. So let's take a step further. Now we have there's something called supervisory visits. And supervisory visits is considered. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mrs. Immaculate. Miss Immaculate, yes, thank you very much for that. That's a good one from Miss Immaculate. She just got our sticker. She does this regularly. Thank you. We appreciate the support. Okay. Now, when we say, all right, when we say the supervisory visit, what are we talking about? This visit is part of the program of supervision. And what is this visit all about? It's all about following up, ensuring that the program is running as it's expected. Now, let's take a look at this. It says here, classroom visitation successfully fulfills many needs when performed by someone who is aware of the responsibility. It goes a long way indeed. Teachers want supervision that is well planned, constructive, and democratically applied. I said it is simply for the purpose of follow up. When teachers understand very well that there is usually a class visit and it might not be, most time it is not usually announced. So this keeps them in check, always ensure they are always professional, all right, during the course of their duty, because the visits can come unaware, unexpected, and unannounced. Okay, so we have that as that. Now we have it here. It says that planning for classroom program. What are the things you need to put in place for you to have that classroom visitation program run smoothly? The primary duty of a supervisor or supervising principal is the what? Improvement of instruction. Now, these are the plans for classroom visitation. Now, the supervisor will know of the visits. All right. The supervisor must bear in mind the purpose of the visit and will ensure that teachers clearly understand his purpose. His purpose is not to come and his purpose is not to subjugate them or make them feel terrible. All right. So it is his responsibility to help the teachers understand the purpose of his visit. Like we had made mention earlier, the improvement of instruction, follow up, ensure that the teachers are doing the needful and the required. Okay, we have that as that. Now, the supervisor, oh, thank you very much. I just saw that. Thank you very much. Now, the supervisor will know as much as possible about teaching, learning situation, all right, prior to his visit. Definitely. If he does not even understand teaching, all right, how does he intend to make that improvement? Right? It's just about being knowledgeable enough, not just about being a principal, all right, but also understand teaching and learning process. All right. This is how and this is when he can make an input. So we have that as that. So we have some of the techniques. All right. Techniques in visitation. Some of the techniques, all right, are enter the classroom quietly and avoid drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. All right, do it quietly. All right, smile to let the teacher and the class know that You are happy to be there. Okay, smile. All right, let's just leave it at these 2 points. So we have, there are certain records you have to put in mind. All right, the class, the name of the class members making visits, name of the teacher visited, the all right. Observation criteria are also there, where we have superior, good, and all right. You have to note, take note of the improvement and the progress so far. So we have that as that. So let's take a step further. Now let's talk about conference. Okay. When we say conference, we are simply referring to the meeting. All right. Conference is a meeting, and this meeting is for discussion. It is a meeting for discussion. All right. What are we discussing? All right. To be for discussion or exchange of opinion. Now, this meeting is not just any kind of meeting, but it's a meeting for professionals, all right, in the same field or line of interest to discuss how to further improve, all right, their profession, development, technologies, things to introduce, all right, and make the profession better, exchange opinions, contributions, and the likes. So we have that as that. Now we also have how to conduct a successful conference. You need to get, you need to do the following listed points. You need to bear in mind that you must prepare. All right. The supervisory conference is just as important as the supervisory visit, which we talked about earlier. So you need great knowledge, skill, and understanding, all right, of your profession to be to the advantage of the principal to have every available resource within his reach. So we have that as that. Okay, we are moving at a reasonable speed tonight, and I think we are almost done with the material as a whole, and I usually make it clear to us. For those of us who are not yet members of the private class, you are actually missing out a lot because we do most depth explanation on Telegram, all right, where we do some digging deep. But before we do our Telegram classes, we have to be on YouTube first, where we walk you through the basics. So very quickly, let's talk about measuring teachers' performance. Teachers' performance can be measured based on their activities. Teachers must employ the most effective instructional techniques for the improvement of teaching and for these goals to be realized. Now, let's consider the principles for evaluation here. Teaching method can be improved through what we refer to as adequate, appropriate supervision. All right. Speaking of measuring teachers' performance, we have speaking of measuring teachers' performance, like we have it here, it says that teachers' performance can be measured based on their activities. Okay, based on how well they do in class, how well they carry their students along, how well has the student been learning from their teaching? All right, all these are the activities that are to be considered. Okay, and we also have that teachers must employ the most effective instructional techniques. All right, so they are doing well or performing well is based on how effective they are as an individual, all right, at their profession. So we have that as that. So there are some basic principles for observing, all right, or measuring teachers' performance. Some of this principle is that the supervise the supervision should provide help for individual teachers and general methodology improvement program. So speaking of their performance, speaking of their activities, we said something that it is the measurement would be based upon the performance of the teacher. So in order to ensure that every available resources, all right, everything the child will be needing to be at their best is provided, all right. So it's the responsibility of the supervisor to ensure that this teacher has every training they could get from the school, the resources they need to be best at what they do, all right. It is the responsibility of the supervisor to ensure that. So we have that as that. Okay, I think we are almost done here. Now, when we talk about appraisal, what are we talking about? Okay, we have appraisal. As far as appraisal is concerned, we are simply referring to the act of estimating, all right, the value, quantity, nature of teachers' performance. The value, all right, estimating the value, the value, the performance, all right, effectiveness, and efficiency of teachers. All right, and definitely when a teacher is appraised, there are things that comes alongside. Okay, there are things that comes alongside. So now let's take a step further. Now we have evaluation should be what? Purposeful. Okay, evaluation should be purposeful. When we talk about evaluation, there are certain things you must bear in mind. There should be a purpose for evaluating. Are you evaluating in order to sieve out the shaft? All right. Are you evaluating for promotion's sake? Are you evaluating for critics' sake? The evaluation should be purposeful. Okay. True evaluation is for improvement and growth. All right. When we talk about evaluation, could be for anything, but true evaluation should be for, all right, improvement and growth. So we have that as that. Okay. Now let's quickly talk about this before we call it a wrap for tonight. Now we need to understand something about the community. All right, the school relation with the community. I've said this before in the course of this course that the school is the product of the community. Okay, the school is the product of the community. Okay, so now there are basic principles to apply to the task of planning, all right, and implementing community relation program. The school is founded on the school is founded, all right, on the goodwill, of people, all right, of people who support. Very important. That's it. The school is what it is in that community or in that society because of the people supports it. Basically, it's not the same community children from the same community that patronize the school. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So now, the main purpose of community relation program must not be gaining financial support. So there's something we call community relation program. All right. This is where the school builds good relationship. All right. The school builds good relationship with the community. Okay. Enabling good rapport with the community. And basically, this is not for the sake of making money out of the community, but for having good relationship. All right. Understanding the community better and how to integrate the values into improving the school curriculum. So we have that as that. So lastly for tonight, we have what is called profession. Okay. We have what we call profession. And it says here, many professions have been found to undergo misuse of position, untrue claims, and practices. However, a good profession can meet the test of truth, serious research, and scholarly, all right, and scholarly study. So when we talk about profession, now when we simply talk about profession, we're referring to an occupation, all right, that requires what we refer to as prolonged training and formal qualifications. Okay, so we have here some qualities of a profession. Some of the qualities are a craft, all right, that is comparatively conservative practice, all right, conservative in the sense that it observes some ethics, all right, it follows certain processes and procedures. It requires for extensive and intensive training. Very well. So we have that as that. So we'll stop here for tonight as we call it a wrap here for today. And we'll be talking about the rest of further stuff in our private class on Telegram. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe you've been able to achieve something tonight. Please let's do our notes up to date and submit them to the appropriate quarters. Do have a wonderful evening and good night.